how much that went right into this. That goes right into it. So then I was just explaining that we're going to do a Convince Me this Sunday, where we're going to discuss some stuff. Yesterday as I was trying to prepare, and I was like, okay, all right. God gave me the title and everything, and then I was starting to look and starting to study, and he was like, yeah, I don't want you to answer these questions. I want them to be able to answer these questions. So, going along with, I will trust in the Lord till I die. So today's Convince Me is, what do you say to a person who comes up to you and asks you a simple question? When will I win? When will I win in my situations in life? When will I win? So I was studying and I was looking and I found all these verses and everything, and I'm like, okay, this sounds good, that sounds good, and everything. So there are a lot of verses on, being patient, and a lot of verses on God's timing and everything. But how do you break those verses down to a person that you're just talking to? When you're not in the church, but you're just talking to them in everyday life. How do you minister to those people who just want to know, when will I win? When is it going to be my time to have a leg up in life? See, we're not always in the spiritual mood. So I want you to be able to answer these questions. I have 4 questions for you. And I want you to be able to answer those questions and be able to explain it to people who are not in the spiritual mood at that time. Okay? Everybody good with me so far? Mm-hmm. All right, my first question is, this person who you're talking to, and they're clearly, they've been in a situation. I don't know what the situation may be. You can make up the scenario in your mind or however you want to. But they're at a point of, they want to know, I'm doing what I think I'm supposed to do. I think I'm living the right way, the way I'm supposed to live. But when will I win? So they want to know, how will I know when this season or this situation or this tribulation is over? How will I know when it's over or when it's at its end? How will I know when I've gotten the victory? So we're going to give you 3 minutes. You got the timer? Okay.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
So is it somebody I know or somebody I don't know?
It can be either or. You can answer it either way.
Okay. Well, let me be first.
Okay. Hold on.
So, the rules.
Yes.
Well, no rules. I know it's no rules.
Yeah.
But, so everybody's gonna have like a certain question that they're gonna ask. So if you have,
It's a blanket question.
Okay.
Yes.
And a blanket, whoever want to answer.
A blanket, whoever want to answer.
Okay.
But I want everyone to participate.
Okay.
So I had an instance this week where, you know how you know people and you see them and you know something going on and you know this is just not them. I feel like I'm in a and so I took him in the closet and I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I know this person professes Christ. I know they're saved. I do know that. And I said, but I don't know what's going on, but I've been praying for you because something just ain't right. I know you've been trying to act like it's all right, but it's not. And I just began to tell them, I said, listen, this too shall pass, whatever it is. You've been here before, and you're going to come out the other side. You got to think on the last time the Lord brought you out. Mm-hmm. I said the enemy's key objective is to knock you off your game. Mm-hmm. He wants you to doubt what you already know in your knowing. If he brought you out one time before, he'll bring you out again. It was just a pep talk, but not a pep talk. It was like, get yourself together. I could. with this person. I could say what I said to them because of our relationship. But it was just a reminder like, hey, take your eyes off of what it looked like. Because it ain't never what it looked like. Take your eyes off what it looked like. Remember what God told you. It's so, we forget. Oh yes, the Lord spoke to me, and then a few minutes later, you done forgot already. What did you just told me last week that the Lord told you. So what happened? It was like, you know what? You're right. I just had a moment where and it's okay. Have them. I have them all the time too. I said, now, because in 5 minutes, you might have me in here. But that's how you have to be. You gotta, if you can give it, you can take it.
Right.
If I'm gonna encourage you, and you want me to take the encouragement, so next time, whether it's correction or encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that helped, but that's what I got.
Can I jump off that?
Okay, while I'm continuing. And also, if you want scripture to back it up, you can go to Philippians 4:19, and it says, and my God will supply every need and my God will supply every need of yours according to his riches and glory. And sometimes, depending on why that person is asking that question, when will I win? Well, okay, have you been trusting God? Or have you been leaning on your ability and your own understanding? Sometimes God will put us through things in order to test us. Are you really trusting him? Are you trusting what's in your bank account? Or who's signing your check? So that's how I would go. And I'm blunt too, so I tell anybody, if you're going to ask me a question, are you really, really ready to receive my answer?
And also, I have a friend that's in a situation where they remodeling an apartment and it's too much rent for her to pay. So she had to go back home. And also she said, why is the Lord doing this to me? I said, come on now. I said, just because you had to go back home, that doesn't mean that he is doing something to you. You're supposed to learn a lesson out of this. Mm-hmm. And I said, don't forget now, God done brought you out of so many situations. Why would you not think he would not bring you out of this? Because you can't afford that apartment, but God is going to give you something that you can afford, but you have to go back home for a little while. So it's a reason why you're going back home. And also, while you're at home, maybe the Lord wants you to study a little bit more, or something that you need to do with your mama while you're at home. I said it's very reason, but you always know that God is going to bring you out of something because he has before. So that's what we forget, I think, when you're trying to encourage somebody. And yes, even if they're not saved or are saved, you're still supposed to speak, life into them so that they can go back and say, well, you know what, you're right. God is going to do this thing for me. So at the end, she said, you know what, Rita, you are so right. She said, I call you all the time because I know you always have an encouraged word for me. Sometimes I don't want to hear it, she said, but at the end of the day, I know you are right in what you're telling me. So that's what I get out of it too.
Okay, and those are all right, and those are all good. And let's remember, there are no right or wrong answers to this. This is all about, all that God has invested in you, now it's time for you to give it back. And that's what this is. All the word that you've been receiving, you're giving it back. So on that, you hit on all my questions, but I'm just going to go with this order. What if the person says to you, so how is this situation going to assist me and enhance my life, my ministry, and my assignment?
I think the whole my, you got my all up yourself in this when it ain't even about you.
Mm.
You know, a lot of times we think when stuff and trouble comes and everything that the Lord doing this to me. And no, sometimes it's just life. Sometimes it's just life. And then sometimes it is God working, because what if she moved back in with her mama need assistance? She would have had to move back in with her mama or figure out some kind of way. See, he see further down the road than we see right now. And a lot of times he be setting us up. But it's a test anyway. Are you going to trust me, or are you going to complain through this whole thing? Every time I make a move, is you going to have something to say about it, or this, that, and the other, or you just going to trust me? Because just like I'm saying this, I could get in my car and just be like, I mean, this is good. Because I've just been talking to the Lord anyway about a lot of stuff that I feel like should be done, should be taking place of. Then you know what I had to say the other day? I said, Lord, your will be done. Whatever. I can't even. I can't even. It's too much going on. It's too much happening for my stuff to just. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. And when we put stuff in the right perspective, I think that's when our hearts and minds will change. Because if we're supposed to be doing the will of God, where we at? I mean, where's me? This is will, not mine. Thy will be done. Thy kingdom come. And I think that's, a lot of it's about perspective. Whether you, not to say that you shouldn't, you know, not to say that I'm not going to have somebody remind me, because I do. I have to remind myself sometimes daily. Get up. Feel good. Well, I need to do. And then this happened. And then. So it's all about your mind frame right now. Right now. Not in a few minutes, but right now. I have to make a conscious decision every minute, every second, to trust God. Every minute, every second. It's not. How many of y'all get somewhere and it's just like you got a menu before you, and somebody say, you know what you want? Yep. Waitress come, oh, man, can I take your order? You're like, well, you know, I was going to get this, but then that sounds good, what she got? It's just like that. Moment to moment. You have to make a decision to trust what God said. You have to make a decision to believe his report and not what's running around in your head. You have to cast down all those things that will cause you to doubt what God said. Minute to minute, second to second. It ain't easy. And I'm trying to tell you, because listen, and it ain't something somebody told me, it's something I know. So when I be talking to people and telling them, I be like, listen, babe, sugar, listen, because I just, listen. I went out right a few minutes ago, but I'm all right now.
Right.
Because I know this is a trick of the enemy. Just like he tried to trick me, he's trying to trick you. And he will if you let him. But I'm going to tell you that if you trust God, he'll bring you out. Not because somebody told me, not because my mama told me, because I know. Because he done brought me out. Now, if you ain't living nothing, you ain't suffered nothing, it's the hush. But if you done been there, done that, then okay. So, I hope that's what you want.
Excuse me, there are no rules, correct?
Right, no rules.
Thank you, there's no cheat. Go ahead. Because I looked a scripture up and I was cheating.
No, it's only if you have something.
So what scripture did you look up, Tasha?
What was I looking up? Will when I win.
Uh-huh.
It's not cheating. You read it, look, I can see. Will when I win. What's the scripture?
Does you will find me when you seek with all your
Hard. Making me look. Don't do it. Don't play this. What is that? Jeremiah 29.
So where are you looking for, Tasha?
He finna read Jeremiah 29:13.
Okay.
And you shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart.
Okay. So what are you gonna say to that person? Give it a moment.
I would begin to tell the person some tribulations or some things that I had been through. Because you can't tell anybody something if you don't know for yourself. And for a long time, I used to ride off coattails. But when I got to know God for myself, and I know He's a way maker, I know He's a deliverer, I know He's a healer. So I would tell this person, look, sweetie, look at last year, what I lost, and I'm still standing. And it's nothing but God's grace that I'm still standing. Even when I thought I was going to lose it, the Lord had the saints praying for me. So if God can bring me through this process, I'm still going through it, but if He can bring me through this process, and while I'm going through this process, as long as I keep walking, I don't care if you see me crying, but as long as I'm still walking, I'm headed towards to get out of this battle, because there's something on the other side. And I was telling the Lord, the day Mama died and I was coming down the road, and I was telling the Lord, I said, I didn't ask to be no prophet. I didn't ask for this, because I didn't know what it was going to cost. But I didn't ask for this. It's other people asked for it. So give it to them. Let them have it. Because the thing about it is, we see people move in different ways in the ministry, how they minister and stuff. And sometimes you be like, I like to minister that way. But have you counted up their cost? Because they not telling you everything. And the thing about it is, they don't look like what they've been through. So I would just begin to kind of give a little bit of my testimony and look at what God did for me. And if I know He can do it for me, He can do it for you. Now, what would you say?
Okay, so I would answer the question. So my person is a relative, somebody close to me who introduced me to God. And I want to read from Romans 12, I'm going to read verse 2. Don't copy the behavior and custom of the world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Okay, so this person, like I said, they know God, but for them a tragic event has happened. So they have taken 12 steps backwards and not realizing God is trying to take her through something. And I would, explain to her, I'm like, listen, look, I know you're hurt. I know you feel like you're broken and you feel like God's not with you. I said, go back to what you know. I said, you taught me. Go back to what you know and ask God to help you through this. So I would definitely encourage them to remind them, listen, and just reminding them that, you know, God takes us through things so we are able to help someone else.
Okay. So what if their response, question number 3, what if their response to you is, the cost of this is more than what I'm willing to give. I'm not willing to go through all of this for whatever it is that's on the other side. It's too much for me. How are you going to minister to that person and talk to that person now? After they say, I'm not willing to give up everything that I'm going through for this.
You're gonna go through,
That's right.
Yeah.
whether you with the Lord or you're not. So baby, I would much rather have the Lord on my side, helping me through this, to get through this and get paid on the end, than to go through this by myself and die in.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
But if you don't willingly go through it, you'll be forced to go through it a different way. And I would rather, as you say, go on through it than the Lord forced me to go through it. Because if He take it, it's gonna be a different thing when He do it. But if you willingly say, okay, Lord, I'm gonna go through this with you, that means God on my side. That means He got me. I don't care what I see. That means He has me. Just like I was telling him the other day. I said, God, I don't understand why, but I know it's for a purpose. So while you're doing it for me, do it for somebody else. Theirs might not be grieving, but it might be through, they just going through. They just, done had enough. They just tired. Because at one point, I want to just throw my hands up. But I thank God for Zion. Because when I got pregnant, me and Diana had just discussion. And I said, girl, I don't know what I was thinking. But see, God knew down the line what was going to happen. I needed Him because, why? He needs me. I have to get up every day, every morning, get him ready for school. I have to pick him up. I have to make sure he has something to eat. I have to keep doing these things. But I asked the Lord, I said, don't let me just be like tunnel vision and I'm doing it. But let me be happy. Let me get some happiness, some joy out of life. Because, like I say, and I learned the hard way, you'll either willingly do it, or either the Lord will take the reins and do it.
And I want to add on to that, because in the Bible it says He won't put more on you than you can bear. And I will let that person know, the things that you've gone through, have you learned anything? Have you learned anything? What if there's somebody who's going through something similar? How can you help that person out? Because you went through it, you can tell them what they're going through and how you felt and how you made it out. You can actually help another person out. But if you quit right here, if you want to end everything right now, who are you helping? Because there are more people tied to your testimony than if you quit and you give up, you're going to fail those people. And I would remind them to not just think about themselves, but think about those who are connected to them. There are more people connected to you than you even know. There are more people who are watching you than you even know. So therefore, don't just think about yourself when you want to give up and quit and throw in the towel. There are other people who are watching and depending on you. They're dependent on you. And if this person was saved, I'd let them know there's blood assigned to your hand. So if you quit and you want to mess up right now, that's on you. That blood is on you. And if they wasn't saved, like, listen, my friend, life is going to keep on lifing, whether you like it or not. Either you lean on God, who is going to help you through these situations, or you keep doing things the way you want to do them, and you keep going around in that circle that don't keep up in and up nowhere. So it's up to you. Life is full of choices. This choice is yours.
And you'll keep going in that same circle until you learn
Now,
what you supposed to be done learned in the first place. And for instance, with me, I kept going in the same circle that I knew I needed to come out. But then I was talking to the Lord too, so you have to be obedient and listen to the Lord too. When you in a situation and you sick and tired of being in a situation, either you gonna depend on God to bring you out of it, or you just gonna stay in there and you're gonna be all in the mess. But you got to pray and ask God, Lord, I'm ready. I'm ready to come out of this. Help me. And the Lord will speak to you and let you know when it's time for you to move. Just don't move on your own though, because you'll still be in a mess. You got to wait on the Lord to hear his voice so that he can bring you out. That's what I would tell someone. Just don't move because you want to. Yes, you want to, but you need to listen to the Lord's voice. Because if you step out on your own, then you're going to make a mess out of whatever going on in your life. So you got to listen to the Lord. If they are not saved, you continue to encourage them. Pray and ask God, what should you do? It ain't what I say or what somebody else say. You got to hear what the Lord is telling you. Even though you're not saved, you're not with the Lord, but that's okay right now. Don't let them feel like, oh, I got to be saved before God will move. No, he will move and let you know that he is God. But you got to wait and hear his voice. I said, he talked to the unsaved just like he do the saved. I said, that's how we get here. We didn't get here because we was already saved. So you just got to listen to the voice of the Lord also to move on the situation. And sometimes we put ourselves in those situations. And God will say, okay, this way you want to be, I'm going to let you be there. Until you come to your senses and seek me and let me know I'm ready to come out of this. So it's a win situation all the way around. You just got to listen to the Lord.
Anybody else on that question? Dana, you have something?
Not on this one. I'm waiting.
You waiting?
I'm waiting.
All right, so this is the last question though. So you waiting on
Period.
Huh?
Period.
Yeah. I told you I had 4 questions for you.
Oh, I have 4. Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought it was just for that situation.
Oh, no.
might be you.
Okay, it might be.
All right. So now you're still talking to the person and they like, when will I win? So they finally see a light at the end of the tunnel. And they ask you the question, how do I know how to get my life back to normal?
Okay, so that's really me because, this is really me because I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. So they've been going through, and I mean, when they going through, I'm talking about from childhood all the way up to even now. And this person is just not getting close to God. They know it was God, but they really hadn't turned themselves over to God, but they have now. And so you had situations where people that has been in Christ for a minute, I don't know, it's kind of making her feel bad by the decisions that she's making, but the decisions that she's making, she feels like they are actually from God and fits her situation. And she's seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. So I had to let her know for one, okay, anybody that truly know me, know that I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. God is gonna be the one that convicts me, not man, not nobody else. I'm gonna do what I feel is right for me. And if it's wrong, God gonna convict me. I'm not gonna worry about it. She is new at this, so she's worrying about whether she's right or wrong at doing what she do. And I had to remind her, you still got to listen to God. Yes, these people are your leaders, and yes, they are trying to help you. Honestly, they're trying to help you, but the help that they're giving may not necessarily be the help that you need at this time, because you're just now seeing the light. So yeah, this question, this question is for me. So, but she already knows that at the end she's gonna win. She's gonna win regardless, because of everything that she's done been through since childhood, even up to now. She knows that she's gonna win, but I don't know. I don't know.
So, what she needs is normalcy on a day-to-day basis,
Right.
where she hear from God. Cause y'all know God gonna convict us first.
Mm-hmm.
He gonna convict us first. Before he tell anybody else, he gonna talk to us about us. And so she needs to know the voice of God for herself, and know when to move and how to act when he talk to her himself.
And that's what
Without
I'm praying.
knowing.
That's what I'm praying, because she feel like, because it is coming from her leadership, that's the route that she really need to go. But in her heart, she feels something else. But she's not there yet. So you got to be gentle with these people too. You got to be gentle. You got to be straightforward and be like, look, girl, you know that you know. But you also have to be gentle with them, because they don't know. They wanna do right. They see the light, but they don't know if the light they seeing is truly the light they need to see. So, yeah.
So I usually don't answer any of these, but I'm gonna jump in on this one too. So basically, she's got to get used to a new normal.
Right.
So there is no going back to normal for her, because the back to is what she used to experience. Anytime we have an encounter with God, there is always a new normal, because you can't leave an encounter with God the same way you entered an encounter with. So there is never a back to normal after you've encountered God. It's getting used to a new normal. Anybody else on that one?
Maybe she feel, not sure of the new norm.
Okay. So you know how we speak things into people's lives, whether it's positive or not. And sometimes as Christian folks don't want people to deal with stuff like on a natural level, because we have feelings regardless if we saved or not saved. So her natural feelings, like, this person get on my nerves, or I'm about to be where I despise, hate this person. Okay, my response, how I respond, girl, I know what you're talking about. I know how you feel. But you can't do that, because, I mean, you're going to hold up some things, number one, that God want to do for you. Two, you're going to have to deal with that internally, and this person ain't even thinking about why you hate them, and they still doing what they going to do, saying what they going to say. But we, like I said, as Christians, we have to deal with stuff on the natural and the spiritual level. And we can't beat people down because of how they feel. I mean, you got the right to feel however you feel. So, yeah.
And that's the reason why when I started off, I said we're not always in the spiritual mindset. So we have to learn how to talk to people on a level where they are, because we're not always saying, "Thank you, Lord." They just cussed me out, but I praise you anyway. We're not always there. You better be careful, because if you catch me on the wrong day, you might get back what you're dishing out. So, I mean, sometimes we have to remember that it's not always a spiritual